Justice Mathur, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Well, congratulations, sir. It's taken you 18 months to put together your recommendations. I understand that you've traveled far and wide. If I can start by asking you to take us through the guiding principles that went into the making of your recommendations. How much of the government's constraints on the fiscal side were you mindful of when you put these recommendations together, sir?
See, my only consideration was to make the service condition of all the service employees ameliorating, so that they may perform their duty without worrying about their butter and bread. That was the basic consideration, and that was we had employed into an accrued formula, which is known as accrued formula, which takes into consideration all the rates of the atta dal, and then thereafter they work out. We have taken all these data from the Shimla Bureau of 1/1/2015. Basing on that, we have determined the basic salary is 18,000, and we have done away with grade pay and with the pay bands, so that each one will be a matrix has been given, and in that matrix one can find its place. For the present persons who are there, they can get their induction into the present matrix with multiplication of 2.57. And so far as the fiscal aspect is concerned, we are conscious of the limitations of the Government of India, and within their limits we have make our recommendation, and the Government of India is likely to be burdened with sum of rupees 1,02,000 crore for increasing, that includes the benefits to the pensioners and to the serving employees also. There are 52 lakhs pensioners and 47,000 serving people. They are going to be affected by it, and the total kitty will be, total liability of the Government of India will be 1,02,000 crore.
Right. Justice Mathur, if I can ask you, sir, how much of what transpired with the recommendations of the 6th Pay Commission and then the changes that were made by the government and the implications of what happened to the fisc and the deterioration of the fisc were you mindful of as the 7th Pay Commission, sir?
Yes, we were mindful of that. Some of the anomalies of the 6th Pay Commission had been taken care, and therefore one of that was with regard to the grievance made by the JCM is the grade pay and the pay band. That was creating a lot of problems, so that we have sorted out by giving them a new matrix in which there is no pay band, but there will be a steps only, and that by present fitment formula is the 2.57 of the present adjustment.
Sir, if I may interrupt you, sir, you know, we were speaking with Justice Sri Krishna, the chairman of the 6th Pay Commission, and he was talking about how the 6th Pay Commission had reduced the grades from 33 to 21, and he was seeking more clarity on what has now transpired on the back of the recommendations that you've made, sir.
Well, I don't know what Sri Krishna has said it, and I don't want to enter into dialogue what Sri Krishna has said it. It's only my dispensation which have been there, I'm giving it to you.
Right. So if you can explain what's happened on the grades a little more clearly, sir, how, you know, if you can explain that to us a little more clearly.
What? Grade pay?
Yes.
Well, grade pay had been done away, that had been subsumed in the basic pay of the 18,000. It has been done away and it has been subsumed in 18,000, and then the regular interval people are going to get 3% of the increment till they retire. Of course, up to 20 years, if they don't perform, then of course they will not get any salary beyond that.
Also, if I could get your clarification, sir, because in your press conference, I heard you say that the formulation of pension was on one rank, one pension, and that was something that you were very conscious of. But we just spoke with the Finance Secretary, and the Finance Secretary seemed to suggest that it is not OROP as we are given to understand, and that OROP, in fact, has not been mentioned. If you can clarify that for us as well, sir.
Well, the OROP is a nomenclature which has been used by the defense forces. But my dispensation is that each officer who retires, irrespective of the year they retired, the pension will be same for them. If a person retired in 2004 and a person who retired in 2010 years back, the pension will be same for them. The army calls it one rank, one pension. We may not call it one rank, one pension, but the same will be dispensation applicable to defense forces also. Let the defense forces make a choice whether this dispensation suits them or the formula which have been given by them suits them. It is their choice.
Okay. Justice Mathur, if I can now talk to you about the areas of dissent, sir, because you did mention that there were at least two or three...
Dissent is...
Or disagreement.
Dissent is only, well, so far as the NUF, non-functional upgradation is concerned, some of the members said that it should be done away. But this is since already in operation for last 10 years. So we say, and it was only being made applicable to the organized sector only. That resulted in their deprivation to the paramilitary forces and to the defense forces. I said equity requires that the dispensation should be made applicable to all. Why should it be given to organized sector only? So we have made it applicable to all, and I have not advised the government to abolish it, contain it, so that it will redress the grievances of the people who are stagnating in a particular for a long time.
So that is the only area of difference, sir, within the commission?
No, there is another area of difference also with regard to the payment of the 2-grade increments to the All India services. They were only getting 2-grade increments every 3 promotions from junior skill to senior skill, whereas the IPS officers and Indian Forest Service were not getting. This dispensation was only given to the All India Service and Indian Foreign Service. I said it that since they are also All India Service, IPS and Indian Forest Service, and the police is now facing a great stress in present deteriorating law and order problem, so they must be given same dispensation as are being given to the All India Services people also.
So on
and this 2 years of distance between the other services has to go, and all the person who had put in 17 years of service are entitled to be considered for the induction into the central services like the center pattern. So all have been made equal. I have not taken away anything from all India services. I only uplifted the people who were not being given a proper treatment in the scheme of things. Therefore, looking to their grievances which were being ventilated before me for very long, arduously and very strongly. So I have taken note of that and then suggested to the government that they must also be given the same treatment, otherwise it will create a lot of angst among the services.
Justice Mathur, the Finance Minister said that there will be the implementation of these recommendations through a secretariat. So if I may ask you, sir, and there will of course be an empowered committee that will also go into the minutiae as far as these recommendations are concerned. But the experience with the 6th Pay Commission and what transpired and the changes that were made to the recommendations that the 6th Pay Commission made, are you worried, sir, that political pulls and pressures may in fact lead to the kind of fiscal impact that your recommendation suggests looking very different?
No, I don't think so, because the recommendations are not very go-away things like this. Are very well contained, and the government I've also kept in view the fiscal position of the government of India, and I think this government will have to take a call. I cannot predict what they are going to take a call. The committee will take notice of what recommendation we have made it. That is domain of the government of India. I cannot comment on that.
That is, of course, the domain of the government of India. Justice Mathur, you've done your job. But, sir, if I could also ask you about the cues that states are likely to take, because that will then have implications as far as the combined fiscal deficit is concerned.
Well, that's bound to be there. Some of the states are doing well. Some of the states are not doing well. Some of the states did not implement even the recommendation of 6th Pay Commission also. So that's for the state to decide. We have made our job, and we send it to the government of India. And government of India may accept some recommendation, may alter some recommendation, some may not be accepted by the government of India. And if the states want to implement it, they can also implement the same in the same line as the government of India is going to implement that.
What do you see as the big challenges facing the government, sir, in terms of being able to shore up revenues at this point in time? You've obviously had conversations with the Finance Minister, not just today, but perhaps even during the course of the Commission. But what do you see as being the big challenges facing the government as it rolls out your recommendations, sir?
Well, challenge is for the government to take a call. I cannot say what are the challenge before the government. I am not a political man. I have done my job as a judge, that's all.
You've taken 18 months to put together this 900-page report, sir. What has been the high point for you? What has been the biggest learning as the 7th Pay Commission put its recommendations together?
Well, this was of course a big challenge, because to assimilate the various pay scales into one uniform pay matrix for the defense and for the civilians and for the MNS, military nursing services, that itself was a big job. There are hundreds and hundreds of the pay scales for the government of India. To collect them, assimilate them, and then put them in proper order was a big task. And then to go and see the conditions which is obtaining in the far-flung areas, how people are living, what are difficulties with them. All these things we have tried to sort it out in our recommendation, especially with regard to the forces, armed forces, paramilitary forces. We have taken great care for them also.
Finally, Justice Mathur, let me ask you this. We've been asking everyone this question on whether, your recommendations have been able to. Well, thank you very much for your time, sir. I know it's been a busy day for you. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. That's Justice AK Mathur there, the chairman of the 7th Pay Commission, taking us through the recommendations that have been submitted to the government today. Of course, now these recommendations will be implemented by the central government. Will they be changed? How much of this will be accepted is the big question, but the government